Welcome to Mind the Major, where I say use your mind, don't lose your mind, don't get left behind, become a mind. We family over here. Come on over. Interesting topic today, people. Interesting topic. Biggest news that I've heard so far today. R. Kelly has been convicted on all counts. But just like R. Kelly has been found guilty, we all are guilty. Guilty of what? I ain't guilty of nothing. Yes, we all are guilty. We are all guilty of aiding and abetting R. Kelly. Yes, aiding and abetting. This is not nothing new. What he went to court for or whatever, it wasn't nothing new. It wasn't nothing new at all. But because of the fact the music was so good, we kind of turned a blind eye, so to say, to it all. You know what I'm saying? So that makes us complicit in the actual crime.
I ain't trying to make nobody laugh or nothing.
He's been saying from the beginning that he's had demons. We just weren't paying attention. I just happened to listen to one of his songs about a week or so ago. And then the song, he had a line that went 21 and over, 16 and under. 16 and under. This was like, if I'm not mistaken, this was like his first or second CD or whatever. So he's pretty much giving you the information that he's a troubled individual. But even when the videotape surfaced for the first time, everybody knew, okay, this him. But even after that, concerts were still packed, still selling mad records, still writing records for this, that person, and whatever, #1 hits or whatever. It went on the back burner. But it resurfaced. Now everybody, oh, we just so appalled. You know what I mean? If you're so appalled, give back all the money that you made singing his songs that he wrote for you. Give back all the awards that you won for songs that he wrote for you. Wash your hands of Mr. Robert Kelly altogether. But I don't think those type of things are going to happen. So if you're going to drag him, keep a tight grip on his belt so you get dragged right along with him. You know what I mean? Let's just keep it a buck around here. You know what I mean? He's not the only person that happens to be suffering from issues. Right here in the land of the bee, Baltimore for non-natives. You got people that's actually losing their mind. A few months ago, you had a female pulled over. She's riding around with the bodies of her niece and nephew in the trunk of the car. One in a suitcase, one in a tote. Deceased. Maybe a month or so later, you have a young woman actually murder her 2 young children. And she since admitted to the act. You understand what I'm saying? It's I don't know if it's in the air, if it's in the air, but people all around are suffering from some form of mental illness right now. But what are we doing? You know? What are we doing? We're talking about Fat Joe and Ja Rule's verses. Did you see the verses? Ja Rule dragged Fat Joe on the verses. Yes, I did see it. And yes, Joe did get dragged. And I also heard Joe say, Yesterday's price is not today's price. But let me tell you, Joe, yesterday's price is, yes, today's price. For me anyway, $10.49 a month subscription to Apple Music. But that's not like I'm, in any sort of fun way, giving accolades or, giving flowers to Ja Rule, because, yeah, although he has hits, do I want another Ja Rule album? No. No, I don't. But I'll listen to TS all day. I'll listen to a new Terror Squad project anytime one drops. But also we have, just in the past week, here in Baltimore, 4 underage children shot, caught in the crossfire. But what are we talking about? Raising Kanan. You see that? You see the season finale of Raising Kanan? Yes, I actually did see it. And my question is it me? Or is every episode of Raising Kanan just a repeat of Kanan messing up some situation? You know what I mean? Is it just me? I mean, don't get it wrong, I enjoy the show. I really do. But this, I don't know. But everybody's suffering from mental illness. We got ex-Marine in Florida shoot and kills a police officer. Then he actually shot the police dog. What was that song? I bet not hear about you shooting no dogs. I can't remember the song, right? But it's I mean, but mental illness, everybody want to turn a blind eye to it. But we all suffering from some form of mental illness in one way or another. I'll be the first to admit it. I know I ain't right. I know I ain't right at all. You know what I mean? But it's a big thing where, as though, if you say something like you're suffering from some form of mental illness, depression, or whatever, that is looked at as being quote unquote weak. I suffer from depression sometimes or whatever, but weak, I am not. I assure you. But with all that, what are we talking about? BMF. Yo, you see that? You see the first BMF? Yes, I did. Interesting show. It's an interesting show, to say the least. Interesting show. And I know it's only going to get better. And salute to 50 for running stars. He's running stars, getting the bag, running it up. You know what I mean? Salute to him all day. You know what I mean? But, like I say, we keep having these instances of acts of mental illness. You know, how can you be a child, so let's just say a child, and you constantly seeing acts of violence where you live? You constantly seeing people laid out in the street, covered with white sheets, so, you know what I mean, so on and so forth. You ain't even 10 years old. You're bound to be screwed up at some point. You're bound to be screwed up because it's not natural. It's not a natural occurrence. And when you take stuff like that that you know is not natural and try to normalize it, what are you doing? You know what I mean? What are you doing? How do you make constantly walking past bodies laid in the street or whatever, covered? How do you make that normal? You cannot. But this is what young people see are actually being placed in war zone situations when they're not even able to be enlisted. They're not even old enough to be enlisted in the military. But yet, you're in the military because you're growing up in a war zone. In a war zone. But you're expected to not have any form of trauma. You're expected to not suffer from any form of trauma. Yeah, that's okay. But what are we doing? We just celebrate. We'll celebrate anything. You know what I mean? We celebrate anything. Turn a blind eye to the things that need the most attention. You understand what I'm saying? You take a person that's constantly, you know what I mean, going through traumatic things or whatever, and they had to bottle these things up, and then you have them go into a job where they're barely making enough money to even survive, and then on this job they're looked at them like they're less than, you know what I mean? But then when you have situations where the person happens to quote unquote snap and do this, that, and the third, they look like it's being bad people, but nobody wants to bring up the issue that they were actually screwed up. You know what I mean? But what are we doing? You know what I mean? Be careful on how you talk to the next person, because you never know what that person is actually going through or what's going on in that person's head. You understand it? You know what I mean? But you got people that, because they're quote unquote so-called book smart, they'll tend to look down on the person that has that menial job in the place in which they work. You understand what I'm saying? Even though they could have more common sense than the person that actually makes the most money. But hey, you know what I mean? You could have 12 different degrees, but not enough common sense to not step in front of a moving object. You know what I mean? It's just like you don't even have the sense that God gave you. You know, on the day that God was giving out common sense, you saw that line, but you said to yourself, I'm not common sense. Looks like something I might need, but I don't think I'm going to stand in that line. Is it a book? Is it a book that you're going to... There's no book. There's not even a book for me to study common sense. I'm not buying it. If it's not in a book that someone else written, I'm not buying it. You can't buy common sense, people. You cannot buy common sense. You know what I mean? But do me a favor. Show me that you have common sense. By first, it's right down there somewhere. It's a like button. Thumbs up. It's a like button. Put some pressure on that. That means push it. And there's also on the other side of that, it's a subscribe button. If you're not already family, put some pressure on that subscribe button as well. And there's a bell beside the subscribe button that comes up. Ring the bell, ring the bell. And press all for all future notifications so that anytime I drop one of my videos or whatever, you'll be one of the first to be notified of it. Share like air. Share like air. Whether that's a good or a bad thing right now, I don't know. But share it with somebody anyway. Like I always say, great minds think alike. And everybody has greatness in them. You just never know when somebody's going to come along and pull that greatness up out of you. So till the next time, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, share. Doc, tell them what it's all about.
Cash money.
2 in the air.